Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijayendra Singh Tawar, Associate Professor in English, and at present, I have been posted at Government College Gudha in the Tughlaq district. In the series of video lectures, which is being prepared by me, today's video lecture is meant for the students of Class BA Part 3rd, Subject English Literature, Paper 1st, and in this video, we will talk about the character of Tughlaq based on the play composed by Greece Karnad, which is prescribed in your syllabus. Greece Raghunath Karnad, he was born in 1938 and died in 2019, just 1 year ago, you can see, is a contemporary writer of this age in which we are living, playwright, that is dramatist, actor and movie director in Kannada language. He is well-known name in India and is famous in Indian cinema also. He is the latest of 7 recipients of Gyan Peeth Award for Kannada. Means he was given Gyan Peeth Award for his literature and the highest literary honor conferred in India, which is given in India. For 4 decades, Karnad has been composing plays, often using history and mythology to tackle contemporary issues. He used to write plays taking material from history and mythology and presenting in such a way that it becomes relevant in the modern time. He is also active in the world of Indian cinema, working as an actor, director, and screenwriter, earning numerous awards along the way. He is a famous actor. He has worked in many Hindi movies, Kannada movies, and also directed some of the series, you can say, movies. He was conferred Padam Shri and Padam Bhushan by the government of India. Tughlaq is Karnad's second play. It was originally written in Kannada language in 1964. It was first produced in Kannada in 1965. It was an immediate success on the stage. It was performed in many languages such as Hindi, Marathi, Bengali with equal success. It was demanded that it should be translated into English in 1970 and he himself translated it. It is a historical play dealing with the last 5 years of the troubled reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The action of the play takes place first of all in Delhi in the year 1327, then on the road from Delhi to Daulatabad, and lastly in and around the fort in Daulatabad 5 years later. Means we know about Tughlaq that Tughlaq is known as Mad Tughlaq in history, but he was not so as it is stated by common man. He was very intelligent person. This has been shown in this play. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is the central character in the play. He dominates the play from beginning to the end. He is the most wonderful king that ever ruled India. India has been ruled by many rulers and he is one of the wonderful rulers. He is a visionary, an idealist, a great scholar, a crafty politician, very cunning politician. However, his lofty ideals and dreams are not realized. They were not fulfilled. He becomes an image of frustrated dreamer. His ideals are not understood by the people. People could not understand him. He is called Mad Tughlaq. Greece Karnad in his play has shown him to be a man of opposites, the ideal and the real. In this connection, Professor M.K. Naik points out, Karnad projects the curious contradiction in the complex personalities of the Sultan, who was at once a dreamer, a man of action, benevolent and cruel, devout and callous. Means Tughlaq is stated by ordinary man that he was mad, but in reality he was a complex personality. He was a mixture of opposite qualities. He was very merciful and well merciless. He was dreamer as well as man of action. He is well versed in Greek, Persian, and Arabic literature. He can cite examples from the learned philosopher of this literature to prove his point. He loves poetry. He wants his life to be a poem, a garden of roses where even thorns may prick and quicken the sense, means motivate you. He has planted a garden of roses. He is such a lover of greenery. He is an expert in the game of chess. He solves the problems of the game which are regarded insoluble. Means he solved those problems of chess which nobody could solve. He is liberal. He understands the Quran and makes the prayers compulsory 5 times a day. He does not levy jizya tax on the Hindus or kafir as they were called. Levy means he does not impose. He used to treat both Hindus and Muslims equally. He knows that people of all religions are his subjects. Subjects means citizens. And they must all be treated impartially. Everyone, even by the common man, acknowledge the learning and intelligence of Tughlaq. Someone called Tughlaq anti-Islam in the crowd before the Chief Court of Justice in Delhi. A young man in the crowd tells him that Tughlaq is well versed in the Quran and has made prayer compulsory 5 times a day and also the reading of the Quran obligatory. That is compulsory. He knows the tenets of the Quran, tenets, principles. Brani, who is a great scholar, tells Muhammad, "You are a learned man. Your Majesty, you are known the world over for your knowledge of philosophy. History is not made by common men. That is where you belong. Your Majesty in the company of learned men." Means you are a learned man and you can change, you can create history. Even his critics and opponents recognize his scholarship. Sheikh Imamuddin, who had raised the standard of revolt against the Sultan and stirred the people of Kanpur to rebel, admits that the Sultan is a scholar of eminence, a great scholar. He acknowledges that God has given the Sultan the power of learning, intelligence, talent, and that he is a learned man. Shahabuddin, who also never doubted the learning, scholarship, and wisdom of the Sultan. Tughlaq's scholarship makes him a visionary. He has his own ideas which he wants to translate into action. He knows about the ignorance of his people and the darkness they live in. He also knows about the injustice, hatred, and violence spread by the former rulers. These are the rulers which happened, his predecessors, they were not treating the people of India impartially. They spread violence, hatred, injustice. It was well known to Tughlaq. Tughlaq is aware of the corruption in the administrative services. He does not like it. He wants to establish justice and equality for all his subjects. Subjects means citizens. He longs for justice to work in his kingdom without any consideration of might or weakness, religion or creed. Means he wants that all The subjects of his country should get justice impartially without referring to their caste, creed, or belonging. He longs for justice to work in his kingdom without any consideration of might or weakness. That is, one is powerful, one is weak. He tells Brani that he believes in love, in peace, in God. Tughlaq is a true democrat and not a tyrant. When he orders the shifting of his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, he goes to his people and tells them, I beg you to realize that this is no mad whim of a tyrant. It is not a decision of a mad king or dictator. My ministers and I took the decision after careful thought and discussion. He rationalizes this before them and says, my empire is large now and embraces the south, and I need a capital which is at its heart, which should be in the center of the state, in the country. Delhi is too near the border, and as you well know, its peace is never free from the fear of invaders. We always expected the invaders will attack. But for me, the most important factor is that Daulatabad is a city of the Hindus. And as the capital will symbolize the bond between Muslims and Hindus, which I wish to develop and strengthen in my kingdom. He allows the people to criticize him openly. He gave the full right to people to criticize the king, not to be afraid of him. The people have been told that they have a right to criticize the Sultan and to voice their grievances openly. He goes to the people, talks to them. Like Pandit Nehru, he wants to be with them and listen to their misery and sorrow, their pain and sufferings. Means he wanted that he should be with his people, with his citizens, and he should not be considered different from his people. But all his idealism is shattered. Justice and equality is denied by his state officers to the people. Ajit sits as a civil officer, does not allow a poor Hindu woman to go and see her dying child. This is an example of corruption. He wants money for the help sought. Thieving and looting and killing are rampant in his state. Means these were ordinary things. The thieving and looting were not something unusual in his rule. Tughlaq wanted to be an ideal king, very much different from those who had ruled Delhi before him. Before Tughlaq, there were many rulers. They ruled India and they imposed many taxes, for example, jizya taxes, and they differentiated between Hindu and Muslims. But he wanted to be different from his predecessors. He wanted to be impartial king. He wanted to be a king worthy to wear the royal robes, that impartial one, to be loved by the people of his state, who is loved by his countrymen. But he got hatred, contempt, and reward. But he did not get that what he wanted. But on the contrary, he got hated. He was hated by people, contempt and reward. His own mother does not talk to him. His stepmother suspects him. Even Barani doubts him. He is disliked by the Muslims and Hindus alike. The state is in a mess. But Tughlaq is also a crafty politician who stoops to trickery, cunningness, firmness, and wickedness. Once he could go and stoops to any level to get benefit in the situation. He commits one murder after another. He is charged with patricide and fratricide. He is regarded as he killed his father and brother. He orders his stepmother to be dragged and stoned to death and commits matricide. That is, he also killed his mother. To do away with the opposition, he lays a trap for Sheikh Imamuddin for becoming his envoy for peace and gets him murdered. Again, when Shihabuddin and the amirs of the state plan to murder him at the prayer time, he keeps his balance, catches them in his net. His soldiers kill the amirs and he himself stabs his most trusted lieutenant Shihabuddin. Tughlaq's ideals were frustrated within the short span of 20 years. He was a visionary, he wanted to establish a different type of kingdom, but he could not achieve his target. So his dreams remained unfulfilled. As the play ends, he orders that all should return to Delhi, and thus he compounds the misery of his people. He thus realized his mistake and consequently was considered mad by the people. That is why people considered him mad or called him Mad Tughlaq. Mad Tughlaq has become a commonplace, it's ordinary statement, ordinary name for him. And this regards the greatness within him. He ordered that copper coins could be the currency of his kingdom and would have the same value as the silver dinar. There was nothing wrong in it, for in China they already had paper currency. But he gave this order without making proper arrangement for minting of the new currency. Means it was not made available by the king. No prior homework was done before implementing the decision. So heaps of counterfeit, means fake, copper coins reached him and had to be dumped in the rose garden, which was the result of much effort and labor. In this way, he brought ruin and disaster on his sultanate and made himself a laughing stock of all concerned. The idea is he could not use his common sense, though theoretically he was right person, he was a very learned person, but in practical life he committed mistake. That is why he is regarded as a mad king, mad Tughlaq. Thank you very much.